Well, greetings, everyone. So, whether you are joining us live or watching our recording on YouTube, we are so glad you came to join us to learn a little bit more about Aurora Expeditions and the Antarctic experience. We are Suzanne and Steve Clausen, and we are the owners of CruiseOne in Sholo, Arizona. And Lauren heads up our Tucson office. So, we'll go ahead and get started. And our presentation tonight, we're actually doing this in the afternoon, but doesn't matter. Steve and I are going to tell you a little bit about our agency. We're going to talk to you about Aurora Expeditions, tell you what they're all about, and then we're going to share highlights from our 2026 Aurora Expedition from Antarctica. We are so excited to share that with you because we just got back a little over a month ago, and then we're going to talk about our exclusive discount pricing for 2 cruises that we are holding space on in 2027. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to tell you a little bit about our travel agency. I know this is kind of an eye chart. We've been in business for almost 14 years. We are highly engaged, proactive travel agents, and we are not order takers. We are hand holders, and we will guide you from step one all the way through to when you get back from your vacation. So we are definitely part of delivering dream vacations and making sure that your vacation exceeds your expectations. You've got an insider working on your behalf. You get our expert planning assistance. You have a low price guarantee. You will never, ever, ever pay more booking with us than you will directly with the cruise line. And as a matter of fact, with this particular deal, you're going to be paying less. And help is always a phone call away. No long hold queues or hold times. You'll either get us live on the phone or get our voicemail. We'll call you right back. So let's talk about what expedition style cruising is and how it is very, very different from mass market cruising. With mass market cruising, you've got thousands of fellow guests, very short stays in port, over the top entertainment, gala nights, dress up nights. You're basically on a floating style resort. And when you go to remote destinations like Antarctica, you're basically only doing scenic sailing through. You're just getting a glimpse of the scenery. With an expedition style cruise, like with Aurora, you've got 120 or fewer guests. You're on a modern purpose-built icebreaker, and it is a complete immersion of the destination. And my experience with doing, well, you'll see in a few minutes, completely different. It's focused on the wildlife and the beauty of the destination. And you'll see a big contrast between how I experienced it in 2020 and 2023. These are just some of the pictures from our big ships that we did it with in 2020 and 2023. That's as close as I got to Antarctica, what you're seeing right there. Those are we took lots of beautiful pictures, but that's it. We just sailed right by it. And after we did that, we knew we needed to come back and do it for real. This is us, on a typical cruise, all dressed up on formal nights, sequins, the whole thing. And in 2023, we did a Svalbard cruise with Aurora Expeditions. It was complete destination immersion. Since then, we've started adding expedition cruises to our yearly schedule. We've done them with Silver Sea. We've done them with Celebrity in the Galapagos. We've done them with Lindblad. We still keep coming back to Aurora. They are such a great provider of the expedition experience. So that's who we chose to do our group with in 2026 to Antarctica. We're going back to Svalbard with them in 2027. So who can enjoy an expedition style cruise? I like to say if you can play around the golf or shop till you drop on Black Friday, you can do it. We definitely had people in their 80s on all of our expedition cruises that we have done recently. So you need to be mobile. You don't need to be extremely young and extremely fit. If you look at these pictures, these people look pretty active. We had some people that in some of the destinations or some of the landing locations, they just got off and walked around a little bit. They were beachcombers. So we'll go into that a little bit later, but in some places, you just need to be able to sit in a Zodiac and ride around to really enjoy the experience. So let's dive a little bit more into Aurora Expeditions. right, that video gives me a little bit of chills. So we have got group space on 2 itineraries for 2027. We have got the February 28th on the Greg Mortimer ship. That's the ship we just sailed on. It is a 12-night across the Antarctic Circle. That is the itinerary that we just did. It is round trip from Ushuaia, Argentina. And then we also have group space on the March 9th, 2027 expedition. That's on the Douglas Mawson. 20-night, it includes South Georgia and the Falklands and the Antarctic Odyssey. It doesn't go as far as the Antarctic Circle, but it does include the Antarctic Peninsula as well as South Georgia and the Falklands. So both great expedition experience. Now we've chosen to work with Aurora Expeditions for our Antarctica cruises because the destination immersion, this limited number of passengers, which means everybody can be off the ship at one time. They give us contracted group savings. They have a great environmental stewardship, and we've had incredible experiences with them previously in the Arctic, the Northwest Passage, and now we can add our Antarctic experience to that list. They're an award-winning expedition company. They're pioneers in the world of expedition. They started doing it years and years ago when Greg Mortimer would charter and travel with friends on old Russian icebreakers to Antarctica. They are founding members of IACO and IATO, which are governing bodies for both the Arctic and the Antarctic preservation. They're a certified B Corporation, which just means they meet a lot of stringent environmental factors that show that they have transparency, accountability, and sustainable business practices. They also participate in citizen science programs that are part of their environmental stewardship. And they do things like microplastic studies. So they are definitely, in beach cleanups, there's another thing they do. They have the most included activities, and it all depends on which season that you're in. You saw people doing snow skiing and snowshoeing. That was early season activities. They actually also have campouts overnight. Again, that is early season when the snow is there. The kayaking program, our friend did it, and that you do the whole time. They also have a paddling program that's for people that are less experienced kayakers. We had people doing diving and snorkeling on our cruise. They do rock climbing, alpine hiking. It just depends on what, but the 4 activities that we had going on our cruise were the kayaking, the diving, the snorkeling, and the paddling. If you do the kayaking, you sign up for the whole thing. There is a extra fee to do the kayaking and the paddling, and that is because they give you the dry suit that you sit in and you fit in, and they have to, pay for the wear and tear on those suits as well. They have some of the most amazing expedition guides. These are all people that are leaders in their field. A lot of them have PhDs. They have been Antarctic scientists that have been stationed in Antarctica. Just amazing, amazing people they have on their team. And one of the people that was traveling with us commented, "We can tell where Aurora spends their money. It is on the quality of the people that they have on their expedition team. They're naturalists, they're marine biologists, they're geologists, they're historians. They are all great people, great presenters, very engaging, and they make the experience just absolutely amazing." There are 2 ships that they have. They're older, they're not old, but the Greg Mortimer was their first Olstein X-Files ship. You notice that unique shape. They added the Sylvia Earle. These are named after the founder of the company and an extraordinary marine biologist, Sylvia Earle. And then they just launched in 2025 the Douglas Mawson, it's named after the famous Australian explorer, Douglas Mawson. And in case I didn't tell you, Aurora Expeditions is an Australian company. And again, it was founded by Greg Mortimer, who is a famous Australian explorer. And he is the first Australian, let me see if I can get this right. He climbed Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. So very, very interesting man. So let's talk about what it means to visit Antarctica. If you have a ship that has more than 500 passengers, you cannot make a landing. So that's why when I was on that celebrity ship, I was just waving at Antarctica. Closest I got was those pictures that you saw. And if you bring a smaller than 500 passenger ship, you can have no more than 100, excuse me, 100 passengers ashore at a time. And that's what makes Aurora Expeditions so unique. They only have an average of 100 passengers. And basically, because they have some people in the kayaking program and in the paddling program, the snorkeling and the diving program, everybody can be off the ship all at once. They don't have to do split landings. If you go on a ship with 300 or 400 people, they take group A off, group B, group C, and not everybody gets to have that same experience that the first people off. You know, you could have the weather change. Not everybody gets to go ashore. So that's one of the things that makes Aurora Expeditions such a great company to do your expedition experience. The ships are beautiful. This is what the cabins look like. You can see they're beautifully decorated. They're very comfortable. The bathrooms have heated floors in both this part, and the floor of the shower is heated. This is the presentation room where they do the lectures and talk about all the different experiences that you can have the next day. They do a briefing and recap. They talk about what you saw that day, and they maybe are going to talk about what they're going to do tomorrow, what the plan is tomorrow. And it's always a plan A and a plan B, because with an expedition, you just never know what's coming up. This is the library. They have an amazing assortment of books on these ships. They have reference books about the wildlife that you're going to see. So if you're like, I saw that bird, or I saw that animal, I can't remember what it was, you can go look it up and read more about the things that you see. If you need to stay in shape, they have an incredible fitness center on board these ships. And this is one of the nice things. This is not a retrofitted ship where they've taken some weird area of the ship and converted it into a mudroom. These ships were purpose-built, and they have this dedicated mudroom where you keep your boots, you can keep your jacket, even your pants if they got wet, your waterproof pants, let them dry. You're not having to haul all this stuff back and forth to your room. It's very nice to keep your boots and your jacket, everything in this room. When they call your name or your deck of the ship to go down and get dressed, your boots are there, everything's ready. You get dressed very quickly, and you're out on these Zodiacs, which also are in a great place. They're not on some repurposed top deck. They're right on the back. They get the Zodiacs off very quickly, and as soon as they say they're starting to put Zodiacs in the water, they are pretty much getting guests in the water as well. The back of the ship, they have this wonderful marina to load the folks into the kayaks. Usually, though, they are loading folks into a Zodiac, and they take the Zodiac a little further out with the kayaks in tow, so that the folks in the kayak can explore an area that's a little bit further away from where the ship is actually imported. There are no formal nights. It is very, very casual. Usually what you wear around the ship is what you had underneath your layers. So it is a very casual, relaxed atmosphere, people of all ages. You have solo travelers, couples, groups. It is a fun, relaxed atmosphere. They have amazing international food, very attentive, personalized service. And I'll show you that. The waiters and the bartenders made it just so much fun on this adventure that we had in Antarctica. It was just a joyous, joyous time for everybody on board the ship. And I'll kind of show you what that was like. The expedition teams are absolutely amazing. This is our expedition team from our adventure in Svalbard, our very first time. I kept this picture in here because so many of these people were back on our Antarctica cruise as well. It's like coming back home every time I go on an Aurora expedition. It's like, oh, we're back here with you. Do you remember us? And they remember you by name. It's a wonderful experience. And Howard, who was our very first expedition leader, he actually was one of the cameramen that went with Greg Mortimer when he summited Mount Everest that time. So going to just summarize the Aurora difference. They have a positive impact on travel. They have that small ship experience. They have these amazing purpose-built brand new ships, education and enrichment, You get more time off the ship because they don't have those split landings. And they are the world's leading activity program. And again, my friend pointed it out. They spend a lot of their money on their expert guides. These people are just amazing, amazing personalities, experts in their field, really going to give you that personalized connection to your destination. So let's take a look at Antarctica. This is a map. So you've got the Antarctic Peninsula. You've got I'll just point the different areas that you can visit. Here's the Falklands / Malvinas. You've got South Georgia, where you're going to see the king penguins, the King George Islands, South Shetland Islands, Orkneys, the Weddell Sea, just the different areas of Antarctica. And I probably should have put this next slide before this one, but I'm going to show you this. People always ask me about loading Zodiacs. So I just want to show people how easy it is. Just 1, 2, 3, sit down. They hand your bag with your camera equipment and everything in it. Very easy on and off. So some people get a little bit nervous about that. And I always put this slide in there just so people can know that it is really easy on and off. Okay, now back to the wildlife in Antarctica. So I wanted to point out the different animals that you see. We saw, I think, every single one of these. So let's see, the Gentoos, the Adélie penguins, the chin traps, we saw those. The leopard seals, the kayakers saw the leopard seals and the crab-eater seals. So if you want to have a chance to see the most seals, do the kayaking program. We definitely saw the Weddell seals. We saw seabirds. We saw the minke. The minke was playing with us one day. We saw the humpbacks. I did not see orcas, but I think a couple people did see them. And some of the people that did some of the citizen science programs, they did see the krill. Some of them scooped up and did some of the microscope things and saw the krill. So let's talk about what's included with Aurora Expeditions. You get a pre-voyage accommodation. You get all your airport transfers, and you get pre-voyage sightseeing. And I have some highlights of that. On board, all your shore excursions are included in the Zodiacs. You get house drinks with dinner, so that's going to be beer and wine with dinner. They give you free Starlink Wi-Fi. You get that jacket, so you don't have to worry about packing or paying for paying a jacket. You get the mud boots to use, so again, you don't have to pack boots. You don't have to pack heavy boots. And then you get there's a professional photographer, and then you get to download those pictures and take them home with you. All your port charges, landing permits, all those things are included. And our very first experience with Aurora was the Svalbard in-depth cruise, and that was in June of 2023. I'll just give you a summary of our experience. We loved the full immersion in the destination. The scenery was amazing. We just said, okay, we definitely got to do this again. So this summer, we did the Northwest Passage. We were the 100th passenger vessel to complete this historic routing. Absolutely amazing. Here's some of our highlights from that cruise. It was just amazing. We got to see Aurora Borealis. We got to see so many historic sites. And then this year, we just completed this one. And I'm so excited. I've kind of rushed through the beginning of this presentation because I wanted to share with you our pictures from this cruise. So we're going to start first with our accommodations in Ushuaia, Argentina. They put you up at this fabulous hotel on the top of the hill. The nice thing about it is this hotel is a little remote and out of town, but the hotel provides a free shuttle back and forth into town. So once you get to the hotel, if you want to go back and forth into town and enjoy some shopping, maybe go to some of the museums in town, you can go back and forth into town. The hotel has a fabulous kind of formal restaurant, where you see us eating here. They also have a more casual eatery that's kind of in the bar. We chose, and I do recommend this, to stay 2 nights at the hotel. You can book the second night through Aurora Expeditions. It is a very nice hotel. And I just say book that second night. That way you know that you're in Ushuaia 2 days before. Aerolíneas Argentinas is the most reliable airline in Argentina, but they do kind of have a tendency to cancel and reschedule flights. So if you get there 2 days ahead of time, you know that you're not going to miss the ship. So Highly recommend coming in 2 days early to Ushuaia. And it is a beautiful area. They included a full tour of the area the day before. So it's a beautiful area. I mean, why not come in 2 days early and see this area? This was our tour that they gave us of the national park. Absolutely beautiful. They had a beautiful barbecued lamb dish that is the typical Patagonian dish that they serve. They cook it over this barbecue, smoked meat. This area in the winter is where they filmed some of the movie The Revenant because they ran out of snow in the Northern Hemisphere. So they came down and finished up some of the filming of The Revenant. As a matter of fact, I think it was in this area. This is where they filmed it. So next time you watch that movie, look for the little bit different flora and fauna, and that would be it. So they took us all around there, brought us to the ship where we were greeted. They took our picture and brought us on the ship. They gave us a little meet and greet with our expedition team. Gave us, got us all checked into our rooms, gave us our safety briefing. We did our lifeboat drill, which is kind of standard. And then we were off and running. And the sail away from Ushuaia is one of the most breathtaking because you sail right through the Beagle Channel. And this is sailing away from Ushuaia. Absolutely stunning part of the world. And, it just takes your breath away. It's a beautiful start to your cruise. We saw dolphins and birds in this area as we were leaving. It's just a beautiful, beautiful area from which to sail. It's just you sail. You can see Chile from there. You can see Argentina. It's just stunning. And so we left there. The next day, we headed across the Drake Passage. This was our Drake Passage. That looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? We had a very cooperative Drake Passage. So the ships that have that Ulstein X bow, it is designed to cut through the waves instead of bouncing off of them. On a smaller ship, you are going to feel the waves a little bit more than you would like on a big celebrity ship. But with that nose cutting through the waves, it doesn't bounce off. So even if you do have a slight swell, it's going to slice through it, and you're not going to bounce off. We had a very calm Drake Passage both ways. But I would say if you do tend to get a little seasick, even if it's a little bit calm, go ahead and take some Dramamine. I don't get seasick. It didn't bother me at all, but there were some people that needed to take Dramamine. So definitely take it. They gave us wonderful food as we were crossing, as actually the whole time. And this is one nice thing that they do is they give you a visual menu. So you do have the printed menu, but as you walk into the dining room, they have all the dishes prepped and examples of what is on the menu so that you can see, because I think most people are kind of visual eaters, and wonderful food every single night kind of laid out there for you. And you always have a choice of a meat dish, a fish dish, usually a poultry, and then they have a vegan dish and usually a vegetarian dish as well. So wonderful dishes. And then they have always available. So there's usually a chicken and a beef that's always available. Wonderful assortment of food. And our waiters were so much fun. When we were halfway across the Drake Passage, they treated us to a little bit of song in the dining room. So here we go with our waiters. Let's see, I get a play. Halfway there, whoa, living on a prayer, take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer, living on a prayer. Okay, so our waiters made it fun. So then we fully made it to Antarctica. And this is one of the areas that we visited when we were there with Celebrity. So this is what my pictures look like when I was there with Celebrity. They look like this. That's all I got. That's all I got. But no, when we were there with Aurora, this is what I got. So I got to get in the Zodiac. Steve took a little selfie of this. I did get a picture of my friends in the kayak program. He had such a wonderful time. He just went, oh, the kayaking. So I'd love to have him join me sometime for a webinar. We just do it about kayaking, but you can see they get in the Zodiac and then they they pull the kayaks behind, and then they get out to the area that they're going to kayak in. So that's, I wanted to show you that because that's kind of how the kayaking program works. So we pull up to the shore. We were greeted by hundreds of local residents, as well as our expedition director. And she is giving us a briefing about what to do and what not to do. And the locals were just mingling around and enjoying the water. And then we get off and we got to walk up this hill to see this amazing vista. And it took my breath away. I looked out and I saw this and I said, this is it. I said, if I don't get off the ship again, this is what I came to Antarctica to see. We got to see these little penguins splashing around in this little puddle. They were so funny. They're just the cutest little things. Just amazing little things. And then a group of us, our friends, we took a little selfie together, again, with the local residents. We got to see some of the penguins. Now, the penguins molt this kind of time of year. It's when they shed their feathers, and they kind of sit there. They're kind of sad because it's really uncomfortable for them. They're basically pushing out their old feathers and getting their new feathers. They don't really eat or drink. They just kind of sit there miserable getting their new feathers. But we got to see them, and of course these spectacular glaciers behind them. Absolutely incredible. The expedition leaders kind of mark off a path where you can walk so you don't really bother the penguins. There's a picture of me near the, with all the penguins and those amazing glaciers behind me. And then get in the Zodiacs again, and we get to sail around these just gigantic icebergs. Amazing. Then we're sailing around our Zodiacs, and another one of the locals comes by to say hi. And I mean, these whales were right next to us. Steve got this amazing picture of this humpback whale, and they must have been around us for 20, 30 minutes. They're really hard to take pictures of, but Steve got this amazing one. So I had to share it with you. It was so close to us, and they're so curious. I mean, they come up right up to you and just check you out. That was all just, it's our first day, our first landing site. So I'm not gonna show you every single landing site and every experience, but I'm just gonna show you a couple more highlights from our experience, because it was pretty cool. This was our second landing site, and I just took kind of a panorama of what it looked like. Some of those folks are the divers that are going to dive in this area. There's that backdrop of, and this was there was some research equipment there, so we got to go out and kind of see what that looked like. Then we walked around this whole area. There was a boneyard there for some seals that didn't make it, or fur seals, and we weren't sure what it was. And then again, we got to do some Zodiac cruising around these amazing colossal icebergs. That one is basically the size of an NFL stadium. Huge icebergs. But then back on the ship, some of our expedition guides are experts on birds. So we got an amazing lecture about penguins and about, what their habits are, how they're adapting to the warmer weather, all that kind of things, and how they're struggling with the warmer weather. Then they told us, hey, we're going to head up to the Antarctic Circle, and we did. And so as soon as we hit it, they had a little party up on the observation desk. They had some glue wine and some desserts, and they had made this beautiful little art piece for us to take pictures with. There you can see where we were when we made it up past the Antarctic Circle. And I took some pictures with my group of friends. These are some of my clients. And all of the people in this picture, we are officially bipolar, because on a couple of different cruises, two of the folks sailed with Steve and I on a Holland America cruise, where we went up to the Arctic Circle in Alaska, and then Terry and Michael sailed with us to Iceland, and we went in the Arctic Circle on that cruise. And then of course, Steve and I were both on both of those cruises, and we did the Northwest Passage. So we did the Arctic Circle and the Antarctic Circle within 24 months. That was pretty exciting. So I have another highlight, and this is what I call our glorious day. So you can see we're coming up on this area where we're going to land. And then I look out of my balcony. I see, oh, there's some blue sky that day. So we get in the Zodiacs and we start heading towards our landing site. Steve got a picture of me as we're heading towards the landing site, and ooh, more blue sky. And we get on that landing site, and this is what it looks like. And you can see the kayakers are in the water here, and these are the snorkelers. There we had snorkelers and doing activities on there. And we get there, and there's all these really cute Adelie penguins are hanging out up there. Most of them are molting, so they're not really super happy. The expeditioners, we get up there, and that's not grass. That's algae that grows on the ice when it gets exposed to the sun, and that actually goes into the water and creates nutrition that feeds the plankton and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a natural thing that happens, but just an amazing day. There's some of the kayakers heading out around there. I got pictures of the snorkelers. I think the snorkelers and the divers were in the same area. I think that this one on the left is the dive boat, and this one on the right is the snorkel boat. More pictures when we got in the Zodiac. You can see what's going on there. This is the we called it the hockey stadium. It looked like a little hockey stadium. Again, it's the size of like a hockey arena. They're colossal. Then we headed through Lemare Channel. This was a really big treat. They say it is very rare that they get to go through that channel and have it such a clear day. And we got some amazing pictures as we headed through there. Steve took some video as we're heading through there. Absolutely beautiful. All those hanging glaciers, absolutely stunning. You know, when you book cruises to Alaska, the descriptions of those cruises say, oh, you're going to have 2 tidewater glacier experiences on every voyage. Well, in Antarctica, you have 15 glacier experiences every 5 minutes. I don't know how to explain it. It's just absolutely amazing. Some more pictures as we headed through that channel. It's just incredible experience. And some more highlights, just some other days. I'm going to submit this as a new advertisement for Aurora Expeditions. I feel like my little fur seal, which I don't know why they call them fur seals, because they're in the sea lion family. They have flippers. They have all the characteristics of sea lions. So they're not true seals. They are sea lions, but that's fur seal, and then the ship, and then the kayakers in the background. And then I love this one because I caught this whale coming up by the paddlers. These were the paddlers. So the paddlers don't do as much, cover as much distance. So it doesn't require as much experience to participate in the paddling program. And they were pretty thrilled with this whale as he came up right by them. Pretty exciting. It's so close. All right. I love this picture. This was one of the few sites, because it was not a penguin nesting area or penguin hangout, where we were allowed to sit down on the rocks. And I caught this couple just sitting there just by themselves. They just look like they're in the middle of nowhere and no one else is around, and just surrounded by the glaciers. And it was quite a stunning location. And
there was a fur seal around, but no, there's a minke whale.
Oh, wow.
oh, there it is.
I think that's a whale. Yeah, I think you'd be right.
Yeah, we watched that minke whale for a good 20, 30 minutes. They're hard to get because just when you think they're coming up over here, they come up behind you. But he was so curious about us. He was swimming around us for 20, 30 minutes and coming up in unexpected places, but quite interesting. And this next one, we would pass through this area where the humpback whales were bubble feeding, and you see the group that I'm focusing on. But when you see in the background, there are probably five other groups of humpback whales that are bubble feeding as well. This was an incredible time. I mean, we went through this area. We must have seen maybe 15 groups of humpbacks doing this bubble feeding activity. So hopefully you can kind of get an idea of how incredible it was from this next video.
This must be a particularly good feeding area.
Ooh.
There we go. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious.
Everywhere we looked for 15 minutes, it was humpback whales. It was absolutely incredible. So next,
I can't remember what the name of this island is. It's not Elephant Island,
Not Elephant Island,
but
we have
elephant seals.
we got elephant seals
People in there for scale. They're huge.
and some Adelie penguins.
Are they Adelies? No, those are too big. Are they Gentoos?
Two
Gentoos. I think they're
Gentoos.
Gentoos, yeah.
gentoo penguins. All right, we're gonna get closer.
it's me and my friend Terry having a big discussion about those elephant seals. They were the size of like VW bugs. I don't know how to explain them. They were huge. I mean, look at them. Those were huge. And they were the funniest thing because they had this mucus in their lung because when they dive down, they dive really, really deep. And they have this mucus that has to keep their lungs from sticking together because their lungs basically collapse. And they have to snort it out because they're on land molting. They molt once a year. Again, so they're very uncomfortable. They're just hanging out while they're molting their skin this time of year. Not a happy time for them. Again, kind of itchy. Can you imagine like when you get sunburned and your skin is peeling off? It's kind of the same thing. I got this picture. This is one of my favorites. Very, very dramatic behavior. So really enjoyed that. Again, talking about the people, this gentleman has done like 30 years of research in Antarctica. He's an expedition leader for Aurora Expeditions, but this week he was on vacation on the ship with his family. But he has done some research on freeze-dried mummies, like seal mummies in Antarctica, and he does a presentation for it. And they said if enough people asked him, he'd be glad to do it even while he was on vacation. So he did that presentation for it. He was a very interesting man, very esteemed professor and researcher from Argentina that does research in Antarctica. So he's a pretty cool guy. And we have another fun video from dinner service. So we'll go to that.
Here we go.
That music and entertainment is not an official part of the programming. We just had really, really fun wait staff. And I think people asked for it and they said, sure, we can sing some songs for you because it's not official part of the programming, but this is. Every cruise, Aurora Expeditions does a barbecue. Now, our weather didn't quite cooperate with us, so we had an indoor barbecue with our funny hats. And they do this spectacular barbecue. It's got ribs and slaw and all the traditional things that you would think of with barbecue. And everybody wears a funny hat and you enjoy it, and it's a party and you have a great time. Aurora really does uh, just make it a fun, lively atmosphere. It's not a party ship by any means, but it's also not so dull and boring that you don't make good friends. The people we traveled with, I feel like we're going to be lifelong friends. We made new friends too. There were quite a few new people that we met on board the ship. The expedition team was fabulous. It was just a great experience. And again, Steve and I had an amazing time together. I look at the smiles on our faces. It just says it all right there. And I'm going to conclude this part of the presentation with some wildlife highlights to show you what we saw. So here's that minke whale underwater there. Steve's got a nice video of him there. And here's one of those Gentoo penguins. Here's those amazing elephant seals. They're so funny. Here's some of those more Gentoo penguins. There's a shag bird. Those birds can fly, so they fly back and forth. You see them a lot in Argentina too. Here's a fur seal, which again are not true seals. You can see because look, his little feet are facing forward. Here's a Weddell seal. We did see quite a few Weddell seals in different places. Here's two different kinds of penguins, an Adélie penguin and a chinstrap penguin. See, you see where he gets his name, a little chinstrap penguin. And then finally, if you're even thinking about going to Antarctica, go. It's absolutely an amazing, amazing experience. Even if you book the least expensive, which is just going to the peninsula. This picture's taken on the peninsula. You don't have to cross the circle. Go. It is the most amazing experience I've ever had in my entire life. You will see all kinds of things that you never thought you would see or experience in your entire life. It is truly, truly an amazing experience. So the two itineraries that I am holding group space on, this is the across the Antarctic Circle, which is what I just showed you. I'm going to go through this really, really quick. So on the Olstein X-Bow Greg Mortimer ship, again, that's designed to cut through the waves. This is what the rooms look like. You've got category A, B, and C cabins. There's also a little bit better cabins. This is a deluxe veranda. They've got junior suites that are a little bigger, and of course the prices are going up as you're getting into these. This is a captain's suite. Here's a look at the deck plan. And again, here's the itinerary and the pricing, but I've got a special 10% off. So this is the current pricing. Whatever you see online at Aurora Expeditions, I've got 10% off. So sometimes, this is an early booking rate. I will always have 10% off whatever they're advertising for this particular sailing with an extra 10% off. So it's single occupancy or single share. There is special solo occupancy pricing. And again, I have 10% off that as well. And we're going to give you a $250 onboard credit. That'll cover some of those incidentals like your gratuities or maybe some of your alcohol that you buy outside of dinner time. Then I also have the 20-night South Georgia, Falklands, and Antarctic Odyssey. So that's going to add the Falklands and South Georgia. The Falklands and South Georgia is where you're going to see the king penguins and a couple other different wildlife experiences that you wouldn't have otherwise. And you only cross the Drake Passage once. So if you're a little nervous about the Drake Passage, you only cross it once. And I will tell you that they do look for weather opportunities where the Drake Passage is going to be more calm. So, they try to cross it during the best possible time. And they try to make sure that they're going to cross it when the Drake is behaving itself. Drake Lake is when they want to cross it. So that's an amazing journey. You cross the Drake Passage and then actually, is this the right itinerary? Yes, it is. South Georgia. Yes. So that's what that one is. Then again, the Douglas Mawson, again, amazing X-Bow Polar Class 1 ice-breaking ship. Rooms are very similar. Just go through those really quickly. The layout of the cabins is a little different. They made some changes. Every time they build these, they kind of make a little bit of a change. And again, here's the Aurora price. We get a 10% discount off of that. So if you don't want to do the Drake Passage at all, Aurora offers a fly the Drake opportunity. So you fly over and then you sail back where you do not go through the Drake Passage. They also have special women's only expeditions. Again, different opportunities with Aurora Expeditions. And just this is, again, a list of all those things. I've gone over those again. I'm not going to go through all the details, but additional costs, I do need to go over this. You do need to get your air to Argentina. You do have the gratuities that are $15 per person per day. And the activities like kayaking, snorkeling, paddling, those are an extra expense, and alcohol outside of meals. And just to give you an idea, the logistics of getting to Ushuaia, I can help you with all of that. I do recommend that you stay at least one night in Buenos Aires. If you want to stay a little bit more than one night, I can help put together a nice tour package. There's definitely some beautiful things to see and do, and some wonderful food to be eaten in Buenos Aires. It's a lovely place to visit. And then you want to get your flight, depending on what kind of ticket you book. And I definitely would book the flex ticket if you're going through. And then you're going to need to stay one night pre, and then before you fly back to the US, you absolutely need to have a hotel room in Buenos Aires, just to make sure that you have time to make that international flight. Make it the next day. You do not want to try to push it, fly from Ushuaia, change airports, and then fly back to the US. Do not push that. Have an extra night in Buenos Aires on that end too. And then you can book flights directly to Ushuaia, but it's logistically not really that great. So I definitely would say book your flight to Buenos Aires, spend a day or two there, then fly down to Ushuaia. I do need to say, okay, a couple of these have changed recently, and I didn't update my slide. The deposit now is it's percentage deposit, so that has changed, and final payment has moved to 120 days. So that has changed. And then April or May or 26th, that's coming up, we can add your air for the 2027 cruises. And you do have to buy travel protection. The deposit, I need to mention this, that it is a non-refundable deposit, but Aurora will try to work with you if some circumstances change, you can't sail on the original date, they'll work with you to try to help you reschedule. So it's their discretion. It is completely up to their discretion, but they will try to work with you. I do kind of let people know that we are not a one-trick pony. We do offer a lot of different types of cruises. We do like Alaska with Holland America. We have this 14-night, or we have a solar eclipse cruise with Celebrity Cruises. It's going to be sailing through the line of the path of totality. This is exciting. We're going back to Svalbard in 2027 with Aurora. We're doing a webinar on that in a couple of days. We've got, if you absolutely decide that walking around Antarctica is not for you, we do have several options with scenic sailing only. That was perfect for my 83-year-old mom. But I will tell you, there were octogenarians on the cruise that we were just on, and they did just fine, and they had a great time. We've got like small ship cruising in the Mediterranean with Windstar Cruising in 26 and 27. We've got, for people who don't want to fly, we've got this amazing experience from San Diego to Tahiti and Hawaii. And if you want to cruise in the United States, we've got an amazing Columbia and Snake River cruise with American Cruise Line. And if you want to go to the Arctic Circle in a bigger ship, but still go ashore in Alaska, you can do that with Holland America on this amazing 28-night cruise with them. And then if you are a wine lover, we have undiscovered Bordeaux wines while sailing in Spain and Portugal with Celebrity Cruises, and it will have an onboard wine program and opportunities to taste wine ashore as well. If you always wanted to do Christmas markets on a river cruise, we've got those opportunities again. And again, most of these prices that are showing, a lot of them are cabin total, not per person. So today you're at this presentation right now, but Tuesday we are doing our 35-night Pacific webinar, and then Thursday next week we are doing that Svalbard webinar. So tune in for all of those if you want to learn more information about those cruises. If you didn't see exactly what you're looking for here, check out our website. We have more group cruises. And then if you still didn't find what you want, give me a call, because we are a national account of all the cruise lines, and they realize that they are competing with each other for your business, because when people call us, they're looking for a consultative approach. You know, we're travel advisors, not order takers. And so they're like, Suzanne, I need this, this, and this. What can you help me book? And so I go in and look and find the best deal for my clients. And I might be comparing 2 or 3 different cruise lines. So they give us very competitive pricing that you don't get if you go online and book directly with them. So give me a call. I'm your best resource for finding a great deal on a cruise. So we have 2 amazing itineraries, 1 amazing continent, Antarctica. Call us to book. You're going to get that 10% savings. You're going to get all my logistical expertise, because I just did this in 2026. I know every little detail about getting you down there, what it's all about. I mean, I got it down. And you're going to have just, I've used the amazing word. I know I've used it too many times, an amazing experience in Antarctica. I'm going to go to my contact slide so people can see how to contact us, how to get in touch with us. You can call me, email me if you need more details or information. I would love to put you on one of these amazing Aurora expeditions to Antarctica. So with that, I'll see if we have any questions for anyone who is attending live. Steve, is there anybody with a question in the chat box or anything? And I got through that
Not at this time.
55 minutes. Okay, none at this
If
time.
you do want to ask
Okay.
a question, you need to unmute yourself.
All right. Well, sometimes it takes a minute for people to unmute themselves, but it doesn't sound like we have any questions from our live attendees. So with that, I will say goodbye to the people who are watching our recording, and thank you for watching.